in recent years and how I got in touch with fixers to travel some of the difficult countries that I've been. I'll start with Central Asia, and because we're here. And I also had a goal to travel all the stands, also including Pakistan and Afghanistan. And I'm lazy, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna find a really reliable kind of point of contact, and they'll cover like my key, the most challenging part, which is mainly getting the visa to Turkmenistan. So I researched the usual suspect, EPS, researched through it, and kind of got a couple of names shortlist. And I found out, oh, there's actually a company that are owned by Australians, and they're from Melbourne too. So I ended up going with Saiga Tours, Ben Crowley, Benz, and Ailey. And so I kind of reached out to them and said, hey, I'm from Australia too, and all that. And they kind of took care of my visa for Turkmenistan, and then I did a whole stand tours, the 5 stands. So that kind of helped me get through, like it was like the easiest way for me to make it easy. Then I went with them again to go to Pakistan and Afghanistan last year. And so that was really helpful because I needed help to get my visa to Afghanistan, which they kind of helped facilitate when we went to Islamabad. So that also kind of made it easy for us to go in the morning to the embassy and then get our visas in the afternoon. And then here we go, we can go to Afghanistan, and we were taken care of. One of the things I did, when we were already in Afghanistan and Pakistan, I got to know the kind of the local fixers behind the agency. So if you look at it, Saiga is like an agency, and they have local people on the ground. So that's really useful. So I got the contacts, obviously, of the people of their kind of end agency. So Ali, who's from Pakistan, and I found out that he actually brings tours to Balochistan. It's like, oh, I didn't even hear of Balochistan before that there were tours, and I said, okay, you actually do tours there. That was really good. And then when I was in Afghanistan, the other fixer that they used was Odette Salar. And then I found out that Odette was actually taking members of our Filipino World Travelers Club beforehand, like on individual basis. I said, oh, you can actually like take care of the visas, like individually, and you can have customized tours even just for one person. And I didn't know that before, right? So, because I had people who just went there and then just by themselves, and they have really a very customized, tailored trip. And so that's what happened. I mean, even if in Afghanistan, we had a kind of a standard trip itinerary, but there were places I wanted to go. So let's say I wanted to go to that wedding banquet building, but it was not part of the itinerary. So I told Obed, I really wanted to go there. So outside of that tour, he arranged for his brother to take me. So we kind of just walked and then took a taxi. And I kind of like disguised like as a what do you call it? Someone told me I look like an Afghan. Yeah, so I was wearing, for those who were in Bangkok, I was wearing the Afghan clothes, and I really blended in. and then taking the taxi and all that. So I appreciated that part from the fixer giving me that extra bit that I requested for, that normally I wouldn't get in that standard kind of trip. So it's actually flexible, and my lesson learned there is I got to know really that there is a fixer kind of behind the bigger agency. And it also helps that, like in the case of Saiga, the agency, the owners actually go with us as well. So that's kind of my experience in the Central Asia that allowed me to finish the 7, I guess, stands. And then I look at fixers. I said, I only really need fixers for most part, I would do it myself, and I'll travel alone, do it myself. But where I need help for visas, like difficult countries, I need a fixer for that. Or in cases where I can get the visa by myself, or visa on arrival, I normally would need a driver and a guide. And sometimes I'll take care of the inter-travel myself. So an example would be Bangladesh. I went there in October, and I said, I need a guide. I mean, I'll take care of my visa on arrival and my inter-city stay. But I need a fixer, and I didn't know anyone, and I reached out to my circle of friends. Matty told me about Kausar, who she went with, and he was in the presentation 2 days ago. So I reached out to him. But at the same time, Harry was also there. and Kausar's going to look after Harry. But then he looked after me by connecting me with his local network of fixers as well in the cities that I wanted to go. So even though Kausar was not really looking at me directly, he kind of referred me to his local fixers on the ground, like in Chittagong as well as in Dhaka, to look after me and essentially have a driver and to make sure I maximize the day in the city. Because the thing, like in my trip to Dhaka, I only like 5 days, and I wanted to cover at least, Cox's Bazar, Chittagong, and Dhaka. And I said, okay, to be economical, I'll take care of my public transport. So I actually took the public buses from Cox's Bazar to Chittagong, and then another public bus from Chittagong to Dhaka. So I don't have to pay that amount of money to the fixer. So I just arranged for, let's say, 2 days, like driven guided tour in Dhaka itself. So I made sure I covered the key city and also the nearby old city. And so that worked out. And then at the end of that whole trip, I luckily got to meet Kausar as well as Wasim, because he was there. Like, oh, the fixers talk to each other too. And then we had dinner. And Harry was too tired to join us, remember? But yeah, we were like in the same city. We're like, so that's kind of how I learned, okay, it's really something, whatever works for you, because you can really tailor. For me, I would tailor what I want, and I let the fixer know, this is what I want, can you do this? Like I did a similar thing recently in Uganda. I said, originally I wanted to see the gorillas, and I found out, oh, it's so expensive to do the gorillas, so I'll probably do something else. So let me see if I can go to this like set of waterfalls in the east side. So I looked at, again, EPS, usual suspect, shortlist a few people, ended up catching up with Chloe from Uganda Tours, and some of the people here used her. I said, oh, she's vetted. So the trick there is, I will rely on kind of my circle of friends who already use them to kind of vet for me. Because I would trust them. I would try Matthew's suggestion, some of the UN masters that I'm friends with, I would ask them, like, I'd ask Luisa, who did you contact? My lesson there that I'd like to share with you is, as a tip, strength